Hi guys, we're gonna be doing some reading with Miss Acton today. I got two really cute stories, and we're gonna be doing some stuff with those stories I'm gonna be reading for you. So we will be identifying the setting, characters, plot, and major event of a story that we read. So we're gonna do that together, and then on your Google form after this video, you're gonna be doing it on your own about a story about a boy named Oscar. So first thing we got to do is read the story. So I'm going to read the story and I want you to just enjoy it, absorb as much information as you can, and then we're going to see what our job is with this story. And we're going to read it again and answer those jobs with the questions that we have. So the story is called Our New Puppy and Kitten. And if you look at this illustration over here, you can see a puppy and a kitten that are sitting on a couch in this lovely living room. You can see the kitchen in the background. So let's go ahead and get started reading this story. My family adopted a puppy and a kitten from the animal shelter. They were so young, they did not even have names yet. We had to think of good names for them. The puppy likes to jump up. The kitten likes to curl up in our laps. What do you want to name them? Asked Mom. My sister said Pounce for the puppy and Cuddles for the kitten. We all thought those names were perfect. We put their new collars with the tags that read Cuddles and Pounce around their necks while they slept side by side on the couch. Too cute. So hopefully you enjoyed that story and you absorbed as much information as you can. So now we're going to do is find out what our job is. Our first job is to figure out what the setting of the story is. Now, you can use the illustration to help you with the setting, but you can also use the words that may be in there. So basically what the setting is where the story takes place. And this picture over here gives you some great examples. A lot of times stories happen at houses or in the yard, at the parks, in schools, but sometimes the stories can be really crazy and they can happen in a castle, in an enchanted forest, in the desert, at a zoo, at your favorite restaurants, at a pizza place or an ice cream place. So it's just where the story is taking place and also what time. So it could happen at night, it could happen in the morning, right in the middle of the day with the sun shining bright. And the season also is important too for the setting. Is it snowing outside like the winter? Are the leaves turning brown and orange and yellow like the fall? And so on and so on. We also need to know the characters. These are important in our story. So basically, any animals, any things, any people that are doing something or saying something in the story. So people and animals that the story is about. Normally they have some sort of dialogue where they're talking or they're doing something in the story. So just making sure you're looking for those characters that are either things, people, animals, toys, even, but they have to be saying and they have to be doing something for them to be characters. Next thing is the plot. This one's probably the trickier one. So it's just all the important things or events that are happening in the story. Normally, there's an important event happening in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. In each one of those sections, what's happening that's important is considered part of the plot. And these illustrations do a great job of showing you that there's something important happening in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end, and all of those important things together make the plot of the story. So again, the beginning, the middle, and the end, all of those events in the story, and all three parts of those is what makes the plot. Now, this next one is called the major event. The major event and the plot are very much alike. As you can see, this first poster of major events, there is beginning, in the middle, and end. The major events are what happened in the story. So I tell my kiddos it's the big thing that's happening. So what's the big thing that's happening? If you took it out of the story, it makes the story boring. So it has to be the one thing that's making the story interesting and awesome. And then normally the major event is normally happening to a character, the big character in the story, the main character, and they normally are responding in a certain way. And that's kind of what we're going to jump into tomorrow. But the events, the major events are the big things that are happening, which kind of goes along with the plot. So now that you know that we need to be covering the setting, the characters, the plot, and the major event, that's what your job is. Now we're going to read the story again, and I want you to try to see if you can find all of those things. Our new puppy and kitten. My family adopted a puppy and a kitten from the animal shelter. They were so young. They did not even have names yet. We had to think of good names for them. The puppy likes to jump up. The kitten likes to curl up in our laps. What do you want to name them? Asked Mom. My sister said Pounce for the puppy and Cuddles for the kitten. We all thought those names were perfect. We put their new collars with the tags that read Cuddles and Pounce around their necks while they slept side by side on the couch. And there they are sleeping side by side. So hopefully you heard some characters in that story. You have a good idea where the setting, where the story is taking place at, and you heard the major event and plots in here. So let's go to the next slide. And I'm going to grab a pen. Let's do black. I feel like black will show up really well. So first thing I want to do is the character. So we definitely have a puppy and a kitten. There's also a mention of a mom. Mom asks a question. So again, she's saying something and doing something that makes her character. The puppy jumps up a lot and the kitten likes to snuggle. They're both doing something, so that makes them a character. The sister, she says something. She calls them by the names that they end up going with, so that makes them a main character. And then the person that's telling the story, the person says, my family. So it's a he or she, we don't know, but they're talking about their family. They have the mom and they have the sister. And then they say we, which would include their sister and their mom. So there's one character that's telling the story. We don't really know much about them, but they're also a character too, and they're saying and doing things. So all those things that I underlined are definitely go along with the character. So we're going to underline the character in black. Let's do setting. Let's do setting in blue. All right, so the setting is where the story takes place. So on here in the words, it talks about how the kitten likes to curl up in our laps and the puppy likes to jump up. So that kind of gives you a clue that it must be somewhere where they're sitting down or somewhere where it's safe for the puppy to jump up and down. But that's really the only clues that I see in the story that tell us where it's taking place until we get to the end where it says, while the puppies slept side by side on the couch. There's only one place in stories that makes sense that a couch would be at, and that's in normally a house in a living room. And then when we look at the picture, this whole picture is giving us a hint of where the setting is. So it looks pretty bright. So we're going to say it's going on in the middle of the day. It's definitely going on in a living room. There's definitely a couch involved. And so I would definitely say the setting is probably in a house, in a living room during the day. So we found those clues from the words and from the illustration that helped us. Next is the plot. So that's the beginning, the middle, and the end, the big things that happen. Let's change our colors. Let's do red. So I'm going to say that the beginning is that my family adopted a puppy and a kitten. That is a big event. That's a big thing that happened at the beginning of the story. If that never happened, the story would be pretty boring. Then the next thing that happens is my sister said Pounce and puppy, or Pounce the puppy and Cuddles for the kitten. We all thought those names were perfect. So the middle, they end up coming with names for them. That's a big part of the story too, and their names are so cute. And at the very end, they put their new collars with tags on them. So that was definitely the end part of the story. But all of those events put together definitely made this story special and important and made it something fun for us to read. So the plot are the big events that happen in the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. So I think we did a good job of finding those. And then the last thing is the major event. Guess what, guys? All those important things that we underline in red are also the major event. Most of the time when they ask you a question, they're going to ask you to find the major event. So that means the one thing. So I would definitely pick what you thought was the most important. And I definitely think the part where the sister names the puppies is the most important part of this story. Because if they didn't do that, they wouldn't have put the collars on them down here if they didn't have the name. So that part wouldn't have even happened if this one did. So that makes that really important. And the part that they adopted the puppies and the kittens, the first thing that they said that they had to do wasn't feed these puppies and this kitten, wasn't to find a bed for these puppies and kittens. It was to find a name for them. So from the beginning, they told you that the name of the puppy and the kitten was going to be a big part of the story. So I definitely think this part down here is definitely the major event where they actually find a name for the puppy and kitten. All right, so now what you're going to do is go back to your Google form. Looks something like this. So you just watch the video of Miss Acton teaching you what it is that you're going to do. Now you're going to read this story. There will be a link right up here at the top. I need to stop zooming in. There will be a link right up at the top right here that you can click on where Miss Acton will be reading the story to you. Then you're going to tell what the setting of that story is, who the characters in that story are, what's the plot, so the big thing that is happening, the major event, what is the big thing that is happening, and then there's also an extra question about an illustration where you use this image to help you figure out what the setting is of this illustration, and then you submit and you're done for reading today. So if you have any questions, please contact your teachers. They would love to help you. Have fun, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.